Kate with New Beginnings Healing Ministry, and you are watching episode 13 of Fiat, the resounding yes that will transform your life. In this episode, I will basically be kind of doing just a little bit of a recap and directing you to other resources that I think would be very helpful for you during these times. And honestly, I'm shocked that things are the way they are, even though Our Lady showed me this years ago. And I really hope that we don't have to experience certain things, but I can't help it to think that we are going to have to go through them. And we're going to have to do some things to prepare, both spiritually and physically. So I'll be going over that as well. So as hopefully you've watched some of the videos about the different prophecies, Our Lady of Fatima, Akita, Garbandal, Our Lady of Medjugorje, George Washington's vision of Our Lady. You know, all of these had one thing in common, and it was the tribulation of communism. And they said it would be very sudden and very unexpected. And I mean, I may be the only one that thinks this. I don't think I am, but we are on the cusp of that as America, as a country, and it's very unfortunate, but it is what it is, and that's when we need to look to God for the answers and look to Our Lady for hope. And Our Lady has been giving us these warnings for many, many years now, and we have not heeded those warnings. So are there going to be consequences? More than likely. But does that mean that we shouldn't have hope? Does that mean we don't have these recommendations on how to prepare? Absolutely not. There are many different people right now of all faiths getting pretty much the same thing. And like I said, I didn't do much research while I was getting messages because I didn't want to, cause any confusion or, become extra creative or, something like that. But over the last couple of years, I've researched a lot. And I can't believe all the stuff that's out there. And in all of the different prophecies that are totally unfolding right before our eyes. And right now, you may have heard of Pastor Dana Coverstone. He had a dream about the fall, about the spring too. There's Father Michael Rodrigue. He's French. He's from Canada. And at this point, he's not approved because the bishop does not believe in the illumination that he speaks of, that many mystics and saints of the church have spoken of. But he was told to be silent, and he is being obedient, and he's not, sharing any more of these messages, but they all are being preserved on a site called Countdown to the Kingdom. Mark Mallet has put it together. He is a wonderful, wonderful man. I highly recommend watching his videos. You won't find a bad one, and he can present this information way better than I can. And it is truly the Lord working. You can tell that. And I'm going to warn you, it sounds insane. If you think anything I'm saying sounds insane, just wait, But any time in the Bible when the Lord acted, think of Noah. Can you imagine being told to build an ark and then having to wait for it to rain, and building something so huge that draws so much attention and then have to say why you're doing it? So if this truly is going to happen, then it's going to be biblical, which means the Lord is really going to be acting in our lives. I mean, noticeably acting in our lives. And he's going to have to provide a place of refuge for us. Okay? So Father Michael talks about that. And he shares many stories of his life that are unbelievably awesome. And he talks about the fall. And he said that the purification will begin in the fall. And just a little something else interesting about him. Last year, March, okay, I was told from somebody who went to one of his retreats, or knew somebody that did, and they took notes and everything. They were told to enjoy the rest of 2019, make a very good confession, because something was going to happen towards the end of the year. Things would unfold very quickly and time would be short. So not time as in the end of the world, just time of this mercy before things really start happening. And sure enough, towards the end of the year, the Amazon Synod happened, which was diabolical, is what they are saying. That's not just coming from me. Look it up. It was with the Pachamama statues, if you're not familiar. Seriously, look up this stuff I'm saying so you can make your own decision. I highly recommend you searching on your own. Don't take it from me. Do your research. So that happened in October. About 40 days later, COVID started in China. And before we knew it, all the churches around the U.S., around the world, were closed. And he also said that there would be 3 prophecies, there would be 3 events that would happen before things would really take place, before the illumination would take place. And 2 were fulfilled. One was an attack on Holy Mother Church, so that was when Notre Dame was on fire. I can't remember the first one for the life of me. I'd have to look it up. But the third one was supposed to be an attack on the Eucharist, which we believe is Jesus Christ, body, blood, soul, and divinity. It's the host at church. That's Jesus. And we look at what's gone on with this COVID, all of the restrictions on church. I mean, it makes zero sense, and we all know that. So that happened. So it kind of makes me think, okay, are we closer, And he does talk about the fall. He said this was this past March. So the first thing he said was from March 2019. And then during this pandemic in March of 2020, he said things will resume as normal as can be. And do not take this summer for granted, but instead spend it in preparation for the fall. And he's saying to store 3 months of food and water. And he's not the only one saying that. Many different people, different prophets, different, that proclaim that they're getting information from the Lord, they are saying to do this. Okay? And like I said, it's different religions, but it's across the board. Prepare food and water for the fall. So whether or not you do that, I don't know. It's up to you. But that's what they're saying. And there are a lot of different events that are going to unfold after. And that is why I think you should get on to Countdown to the Kingdom and start reading. Pull up anything with Father Rodrigue, I can't talk, and just read what he's saying about the refuges, about everything. It's like a virtual retreat. I think there's 17 different parts, possibly more. But look into it because there's a lot of information. And, he's also saying to consecrate our homes, so bless our homes, and start preparing this refuge. And there's just no reason not to. Because if you're prepared for this, you'd be prepared for anything. And the whole thing with prepping, because my husband, I used to give him trouble because he was a prepper, still is. And he would always say, I'm not prepping for the end of the world. I'm prepping for things that are more likely to happen. And in doing so, you're ready for the least likely things that could happen. So he was prepping for a job loss or some tragedy or a natural disaster. So he would have, he wanted to get just extra food on hand, water, just different things. And we've always kind of lived that way. And even growing up, we never went to the store a ton. We'd go once a week maybe. But we've got to get out of the mentality of going every couple of days, things like that. We need to build resiliency within our families, and part of that is becoming physically prepared. So I've already talked about the spiritual preparedness in the last episode. Again, a rosary, that's going to be a weapon for our times. Image of the Holy Family. We're supposed to have an image that is just at the center of our home. We need to have our homes consecrated, and you'll find more information on the Countdown to the Kingdom website. I may even try to find it and put it somewhere on my channel or whatever you want to call this. And Divine Mercy is also a beautiful prayer that we should all be saying too. It's again for these times. St. Faustina said that Jesus told her, before I come as the just judge, I first will come as the King of mercy. So we are expecting him to act in a very big way, and hopefully it's soon. I mean, if we go with the times and stuff like that, it should be soon. And as Father Rodrigue said, this fall will be the start of purification. And that could look like war, plagues, famine, all of that. And we're kind of experiencing little pieces of everything right now. So we know that this election is not going to be pretty. It's not going to be peaceful. And there's actually a siege on the White House that's going around September 17th. They're supposed to be gathering people to wreak havoc in that area. So we need to be spending this month in prayer and in preparation for what could be coming. And, you know, I heard this nun talking one time about this fall. She was also saying to prepare this food and water for the fall. And she said, worst case, if nothing happens, go give it to the poor. Or just, you know, cycle it through your own pantry. And my husband's always said that too. You know, don't go and store a bunch of food that you'll never eat. You know, have it downstairs to where you just shop in your basement. It's awesome. You run out of something, you just go downstairs. You don't have to go away and get whatever it is. So it's a mentality more than anything else. Prepping is a mentality, and spiritual preparedness is just as important, because we always need to be prepared for turmoil, because it's not if but when. You know, fortunately, growing up, we knew that. We were always told that, you know, you always needed to grow in your faith, because one day your faith would be greatly shaken. And it was, you know. And that wasn't the first time, it wasn't the last time. So always being prepared, going to confession, praying, you know, connecting with like-minded individuals and praying with them, you know, it's a way of life. And we are called to be Christians, and people should be able to know that we are Christian, that we're Catholic. They should be able to know that just by seeing how we live and our actions and what we talk about and things like that. So this whole episode that I'm doing right now, I'm just trying to stress the importance of preparing both physically and spiritually for your life, okay? Not just what could come in the fall, what could possibly come in the fall, but for your life, because you're going to need this at some point. I mean, it's inevitable. You're going to need this stuff. So for your homework, please just check out Countdown to the Kingdom. Look at Mark Mallet, watch his videos, just a few, skim through it. What I always do, because there's so much information out there, pray to the Holy Spirit and say, Lord, please, just show me what you want me to see right now. And then just start clicking on stuff. If it's not, if you don't feel like it's it, get out of it and pick something else. But this information, it needs to be known just in case things happen. Because that's how you combat fear. Knowledge, prayer. Then you don't have fear, because it's like, well, I knew this was going to happen, and I've been praying, so I have my peace. And then when you have stuff in the basement stored, it's like, bring it on, you know? I love it. So I guess that's really it for your homework. I don't have a song. Maybe find one on your own. Just a pretty song. And yeah, let's just keep praying. Let's keep walking in faith and see where the Lord leads us. Thank you so much. Have a good day.